It's the one night a year where Raw and SmackDown face each other. Except for the Royal Rumble. And the Greatest Royal Rumble. And WrestleMania. And this year's version of Backlash. And Crown Jewel. Why are we doing this again? Anyway, sorry this is so late. I overslept. Let's get to this with Survivor Series 2018. Our kickoff show match is the traditional Survivor Series tag team match. The Raw tag teams consisting of the Revival, Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, Lucha House Party, the B Team, and the Ascension versus the SmackDown tag teams of the New Day, the Good Brothers, the Usos, Sanity, and the Clones. Kalisto and Epico opened up. Kalisto apparently got hurt during the match. I don't know if they were trying to sell this as an injury or if this was supposed to be worked into the storyline. I haven't found out anything about that. But yeah, he got replaced by Grand Metalik halfway through. Other than that, though, I'm just going to try to go through the eliminations except for one other thing. First off, the Revival hit the Shatter Machine on Primo, so the Clones were eliminated. Gallows then hit a cheap shot on Bo Dallas, which allowed Carl Anderson to roll him up, so the B Team were eliminated. Gable and Roode hit a neckbreaker moonsault combo on Eric Young, so Sandy was eliminated. Big E hit a big splash on Connor, so the Ascension was eliminated. Grand Metalik hit a tightrope senton onto Anderson, so the Good Brothers were eliminated. The Usos hit Lince Dorado with a springboard Samoan drop, so Lucha House Party was eliminated. And this is where I'll make the one exception. I do have to mention, as this was happening, the teams were all brawling, and I think it was Jay Uso went up to the top rope, and then Gable got up and got him in a waist lock and German superplexed him off the top rope onto the teams on the outside of the ring. Yeah, that actually happened in this. Anyway, the New Day hit Gable with the Midnight Hour, so Roode and Gable were eliminated. This left just the Revival for Raw, but the Revival came back at the... they countered Xavier Woods' attempt at an elbow drop into the Shatter Machine. The New Day were eliminated. That left the Usos for SmackDown. The Usos hit the super kick splash combo, doing the Roman Reigns tribute as they were doing this the splash, and that eliminated the Revival. So Team SmackDown wins. And apparently Team SmackDown was not actually supposed to win. We'll get to the weirdness that happened there a little bit later. Overall, though, it was a really good match. I think they had a lot of... they worked the spots in. Normally, I'm not a huge fan of the tag team Survivor Series matches because they're so cumbersome. But I think this way they managed to work through the amount of teams. If I had one drawback, because, again, this was a kickoff show match, and they held... it was 40 minutes. It was 40 minutes because they introduced each tag team individually. They really need to stop doing that. Just introduce them all under one banner. I'm sure it'll be okay if they don't hear their theme for one night. Okay, before we move on to the show proper here, there's a couple more notes I just need to make. First up, Lars Sullivan from NXT is getting promoted up to the main roster. They ran a vignette for him. They actually ran the same vignette twice. Also, they did a backstage vignette where Ruby Riott and Natalya began fighting while Alexa Bliss was trying to pep talk the Raw Women's SmackDown team, Raw Women's Survivor Series team, and because of that, she kicked Natalya and Ruby Riott off, and they got replaced by Sasha Banks and Bayley. Also, Mandy Rose was Charlotte Flair's replacement for the SmackDown Women's Survivor Series team. Naomi was the captain of that. So that leads us into our well, not quite kickoff match, but the first match on the show proper, which is the Women's Survivor Series match. Nia Jax, Tamina, Mickie James, Bayley, and Sasha Banks for Raw, and Mandy Rose, Naomi, Asuka, Sonya Deville, and Carmella for SmackDown. Tamina and Naomi opened up. A bit of a schmoz broke out shortly thereafter, and that allowed Tamina to hit a super kick on Naomi and pin her, which eliminated Naomi, and then Carmella immediately rolled up Tamina, which got her eliminated. Sonya speared Mickie, and then Mandy Rose got the cheap tag and cover. So Mickie James was eliminated. Bayley hit Carmella with a Bayley to belly to eliminate Carmella. Sasha put Mandy Rose in the bank statement, which eliminated Mandy Rose. Bayley and Sonya began brawling on the outside, and they both got counted out. This left just Asuka for SmackDown, and Sasha and Nia were the last two for Raw. Nia turned on Sasha Banks, allowing Asuka to put the Asuka lock on, so Sasha was eliminated. And then Nia basically came in because Asuka was completely spent, and she hit Asuka with a couple of leg drops, and then with the big Samoan drop for the 3 count, and to win the match for Team Raw. Not entirely surprised that this happened. I mean, it's one of those, oh, but there was all this chaos on Team Raw, but it's like every time they do that, you know it's a misdirect, and the Team Raw is probably going to win. And then we get the funny thing that happened. The counter comes up to the tally, and it says, Raw 1, SmackDown 0. And it's like, why are they not counting the kickoff show match? That was a Survivor Series match. It was Raw versus SmackDown. Apparently, Raw was supposed to win the tag team match because, yeah, Raw was supposed to clean sweep this. Spoilers for later. Yeah. And apparently they bungled that, and so they now have to not count the kickoff show match. Okay, our third match is Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura, the Intercontinental Champion versus the United States Champion. And, like I said, I know I spoiled basically the results for these things, but just in case, let's talk a little bit about what happened here. A lot of uniqueness to this because Seth Rollins really isn't a striker in the strict sense of the form. He's kind of more of an aerial technical type guy, and Nakamura obviously is way more efficient in striking. And from that, I mean, you have Nakamura landing a lot of knee strikes, Rollins basically trying to dodge those knee strikes. At one point, Nakamura went for one that went through, that sent him into the, in between the two ropes, and Rollins managed to do kind of like a slingshot into a leg drop through that. Nakamura countered a suicide dive with a big knee strike. Nakamura basically did a lot of targeting on Seth Rollins' neck. He got a lot of triangle chokes and sleeper holds. He, at one point, put his foot on Rollins' chin. Rollins managed to dump Nakamura over the top rope and hit 2 suicide dives. Nakamura came back with a lot of strikes, a lot of kicks and punches. Nakamura then hit a single leg backbreaker. Rollins came back with a super kick. Nakamura fought through a clothesline attempt and locked on a triangle. Rollins hit the buckle bomb out of fighting onto the triangle. Nakamura countered a revolution knee with a landslide for a 2 count. Rollins countered a Kinshasa and hit the revolution knee for a 2 count. Rollins went up for a frog splash. Nakamura rolled out of the way and hit a Kinshasa and only got a 2 count. Nakamura went for the Kinshasa 2 more times. Rollins fought out, hit the curb stomp for the 3 count and the victory. Really, really good match. These two worked, obviously they worked really well together, and there seemed to be actual showing of respect, even though technically Nakamura is supposed to still be a heel. And it's like, I think there's been kind of a waste with, I hesitate to say Seth Rollins. He's one of those guys I thought during the Superstar shakeup should have been moved to SmackDown, because I think that's where his work rate would really excel a lot better than it has. Okay, so obviously that left it 2-1. Yeah, I'm counting the tag team match on that. Okay, our next match is the battle between the tag team champions, The Bar versus the Authors of Pain, or AOP as they are now known. On the bright spot, I can now tell the Authors of Pain apart because Razar actually has more hair than Akam. Rezar and Sheamus opened things up. A lot of brawling in this one. The Bar came in and hit Rezar with a double clothesline. Cesaro came in, really worked most of the match. Akam came back and hit him with a big spine buster and then followed a lot of punches, driving him into the ground. Sheamus would eventually get the hot tag and hit Rezar with a kind of the reverse hangman move. Sheamus landed the Bro kick, but Drake Maverick was pulled Rezar's feet to the ropes, and at that point the Big Show got involved. He goozled, put Drake Maverick in a chokehold, and it was enough for Maverick to soil himself. He wet his pants basically, and that somehow actually distracted Cesaro long enough for AOP to hit Sheamus with the suplex powerbomb for the 3 count and the victory. I didn't hate this match as much, but I did not like the shenanigans with the peeing of the pants. Like, that's really... It was really stupid. Unfortunately, it's demeaning to Drake Maverick, who's actually one of, Drake Maverick, Rockstar Spud. He's a guy I do like. Exactly. It's like, I don't need to see him be that stupid. And it's 3-1 Raw. After that, we have the Cruiserweight Championship match, Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali. Ali opened up by hitting a big forearm, and Murphy just tossed Ali around a lot. Ali hit a suicide plunge to the outside of the ring. Murphy shoved Ali off of the turnbuckle a few times. Once into the ring barricade, another time to basically the area below, to the entrance ramp. And then the third time he shoved him, while he was going for the 054, and where did he land on that? Not quite, it wasn't quite the ring barricade, I know that. But I know he shoved him off, and I think he landed right hard on the table, near the announce table. Ali did come back, he hit a tilt-a-whirl to a hangman DDT. He hit the Spanish fly off the corner turnbuckle, and off the announce table onto the concrete. Murphy would eventually counter a cross-body attempt with a jumping knee, and then followed it with the Murphy's Law. That's the pump handle into the Samoan drop for the 3 count and the victory. Buddy Murphy retains. Great match. This, to me, was the match of the night. They told the story well. They worked in the high spots well. They did everything right. I mean, it really wasn't much in the way of botching. Not surprised that Murphy won. I mean, he just won the championships. I don't see them taking it off him right off the bat. No Cedric Alexander interference, since, again, kind of surprised, because obviously they're trying to build to probably a Cedric Alexander heel turn, but I guess you can't expect too much. At least the Cruiserweight match wasn't on the kickoff show. And our next match is the Men's Survivor Series match with Bobby Lashley, Finn Balor, Braun Strowman, Drew McIntyre, and Dolph Ziggler for Team Raw. The Miz, Shane McMahon, Jeff Hardy, Samoa Joe, and Rey Mysterio for SmackDown. Strowman and Joe, they tried to open up, but immediately Drew McIntyre blind tagged Strowman in, but he did come back and hit a Claymore kick on Joe for the 3 count and the victory. Samoa Joe was eliminated first. Every time Strowman would tag in, McIntyre would blind tag back in, and eventually the two began fighting. Everyone began to brawl out. Shane elbow dropped Strowman through the announce table. It took both of them out for a while. As this was happening, Rey Mysterio hit the 619 on Finn Balor. Finn Balor was eliminated. A very groggy Shane got up and hit the Van Terminator on Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler was eliminated. Shane went for a second Van Terminator, but Strowman blocked it. At that point, Strowman power slammed Matt Hardy. After that, Strowman power slammed Rey Mysterio. Then Strowman power slammed The Miz, and that just left a very depleted Shane McMahon. And Strowman just power slammed him, and Raw wins the match. Lashley didn't really do much. Lashley's injured, actually, so that's not too terribly surprising. As everyone celebrated, as McIntyre, Lashley, and Strowman celebrated, Baron Corbin got in, and because is the provision that the Corbin and Strowman can't touch each other anymore, or couldn't touch each other until after the match was won, which they did. But technically, Strowman wasn't entirely a team player because he brawled with McIntyre. So I don't know what that's going to mean. But Baron Corbin is now permanent GM of Raw. They mocked Strowman as they went up the ramp. Obviously, they're going to build towards probably Strowman and Corbin at TLC, though Strowman's actually getting another match against Brock Lesnar as well. It's probably going to be on Raw, and it's going to be Brock Lesnar winning again because they want to build Drew McIntyre now, but who knows? Maybe Strowman will win, hopefully. As for the match itself, it was way too long. Too padded, too clunky. Not enough guys really working themselves into the match. Like Mysterio and Hardy, Joe right off the bat is out of there. Mysterio and Hardy worked way too much. Miz didn't work enough. Like I get they're trying to maybe plant towards something between Shane and the Miz, but again, I didn't really see anything to happen to that. Except I think there was one point where I think it was Strowman was running around the ring after the Miz. Miz grabbed Shane and threw him into Strowman's path, but again, I can't really say anything for certain. Also, Raw is now up 4-1. Oh, and they announced for TLC there's going to be an Intercontinental Championship match between Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Okay, and now we get to our second to last match of the night. Not exactly title champion versus champion match because Becky Lynch was injured and could not compete. We all know the story there. Instead, it's Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair. Right off the bat, Charlotte landed a straight right punch right after the ring bell. Charlotte chop blocked Rousey, and the two began brawling around. Rousey was not taking too kind of the chop block. Charlotte tossed around Ronda face first into the bottom turnbuckle. She locked on an SCF, transitioned into, a knee bar, Rousey came back and hit an enziguri. Rousey tried to lock on an armbar, but Charlotte managed to roll it into a pin attempt. Charlotte went for a moonsault, but Ronda canceled that out with her knee, got her knees up. Charlotte hit a spear for a 2 count. Both women again began brawling around a lot. A couple of times Ronda tried to lock a top rope triangle, fought out of it. Ronda hit the Piper's Pit, that's her sort of swinging Samoan drop finish a couple of times. She went for an armbar. Charlotte rolled out of the ring. Ronda began pursuing Charlotte, and it's this point that Charlotte pulled out a kendo stick from under the ring and cracked Ronda right in the abdomen. And Charlotte snapped and just started beating Ronda mercilessly. She beat her with a kendo stick. She got a chair in. Early on, Charlotte had elbowed Ronda and drew some blood, and so there was just blood everywhere at this point because she's just constantly hitting her. Charlotte hit the natural selection on a chair. She then put the chair around Ronda Rousey's throat and stomped on it. And the crowd is decidedly pro-Charlotte at this point. Like, they tried to pipe, I think they piped in some "Let's Go Ronda" chants, but it just was not going. The crowd clearly wants heel Charlotte at this point. And like I said, this thing was a DQ. It was a really good match, though, but I deduct points. I deduct points for disqualifications and countouts because I like proper conclusions. And I do have to wonder, though, was this the original planned finish for the match with Becky before she got hurt, or not? Because now I want to see more Charlotte Ronda Rousey, so who knows? And that leads us to our final match of the evening, Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan, Universal Champion versus WWE Champion. Bryan still playing the heel, did not do the yes chant as he went down to the ring, but thankfully he did not do the comedic no chant either. He just went down. He taunted Brock Lesnar during the entrance a lot, tried to bait Brock Lesnar into everything. It was very short-lived, and immediately Lesnar started suplexing Bryan over and over and over again, and he hit a bunch of German suplexes. He did mix in a few belly-to-bellies along the way. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that, given, again, Bryan has a problem with concussions, and you're doing a move where he's going to be landing on his head a lot. Lesnar went for an F5. He had one F5 earlier, but he picked Bryan up to try to do more to him. But Bryan managed to clip the referee, and that enabled him enough to get a low blow and start landing some knee strikes. He hit the flying knee a few times. Eventually, they got off the ropes. They got outside of the ring. Again, Bryan shoved Lesnar into the ring post, and another flying knee from the apron. Bryan went for one more flying knee, but Lesnar caught him and hit the F5 for the 3 count in the victory. Okay. Like I said, I don't care about Brock Lesnar anymore. I don't give a crap. I wash my hands of it. Obviously knew he was going to win. Didn't expect Bryan to pull some sort of chicanery. I expected there to be maybe a run-in from Strowman or a run-in from Styles, but that didn't happen. And yeah, like I said, I just don't care. But overall, I thought the show was pretty good. Like I said, the whole tallying total and the fact they didn't count the kickoff show match because they wanted to have a Raw have a clean sweep. I guess now knowing that they apparently bungled the booking on the tag match, I guess makes it a little bit better, but not that much better. I didn't like the idea of that anyway. If you want to build excitement, it should have been even, and then have that Raw tag team match be, or the Raw Survivor Series match be the deciding thing. But no, they didn't want to do that, and they didn't want to have Charlotte and Ronda Rousey end the show, which is again something else that should have been done. But like I said, overall it was a really good show, and I did enjoy it. I am going to give it a B. Okay, so again, I would like to say that my next movie, the next video up is going to be the Wreck-It Ralph 2 review or the Creed 2 review, but I've still been checking, and my AMC theater is still closed. I have not heard back from them when they're going to reopen. I guess I'm just going to have to ask again and again and again until I get some word of this. If they're not going to reopen this week, unfortunately, I will not be able to go to it because I need the money. I need money for Christmas presents right now. So hopefully I can see you all next time. I don't know when it's going to be, unfortunately. Hey guys, tired of me always talking about WWE and NXT? Want to see me cover something like, say, Ring of Honor, Impact, New Japan, anything else? Check out my Patreon at Sleepy Time Cat Productions and see how you can help me expand my wrestling coverage.